Hello students, today we will learn the nuances of interviewing and how to convert interview into a news story. In the last class we had learned on how to interview and seen some examples from the newspaper. We had also come across the tips on how to interview a politician. We will also learn in this session on what are the salient features to keep in mind before conducting an interview to personalities from specific industries like sports and entertainment as well as victims of sexual assault. First, let us focus on the things to keep in mind before interviewing celebrities from the entertainment industry. First, do homework, research about the celebrity. Second, it is better to avoid asking on personal life if the person seems to be freezing or giving a cold response. Third, let the person speak. Fourth, do not show off that you know too much. Fifth, listen to previous interviews. Sixth, do not interrupt in between the interview. Seventh, if it is film related interview, then read up about the film. Eighth, ask specific targeted questions. Ninth, even if you are a big fan, do not drool, be dignified. 10th, if it is a recorded interview, then do not laugh too much or give fillers. 11th, interview local talent to get a better idea. 12th, you can conduct a telephonic interview also. 13th, try and get lively quotes. 14th, ask out of the box questions. Now we will come across the tips on how to interview celebrities from the sports industry. First, do research. Second, if you do not know the sports, read and study about it. Third, if the sports person is new, then introduce the personality. Fifth, questions should be based and focused on performance. Now we will come to the tips on how to interview sexual victims. Sexual violence appears in the news frequently. As journalists continue to cover stories related to sexual assault or abuse, it can be helpful to have a better understanding of how to interview survivors of these type of crimes. A thoughtful approach to the interview can help educate the public and support survivors in sharing their story. First, before the interview, do your homework. Prepare for the interview by reflecting on the goals of your story and the role the survivor will play in your story. Second, is the survivor's experience a good fit for your story? Can they provide the insight you need? For instance, if your story is about the backlog of untested rape kits, it would be helpful to speak to someone who has had a sexual assault forensic exam, often called a rape kit. Third one, do you need an exclusive on the survivor story? Find out what restrictions you may have from your editor or publication. Has the survivor story been previously featured in any local or national media? Fourth, are there legal considerations? Does your media outlet require a report or conviction in the survivor's case to feature the story? Does the survivor have any restrictions due to a pending criminal or civil trial? Fifth, can the survivor remain anonymous? Many survivors are comfortable using their real name, while others may prefer to use a pseudonym or first name only. Ask the survivor if they have a preference and check with your newsroom's policies on citing sources and anonymity. Sixth, at the start of the interview, set expectations. By providing the survivor with insight into your process, you can help them feel more comfortable, which can lead to a more productive interview. Seventh, explain how the interview fits into the larger story. Fill the survivor in on their role in the story. Are they the main focus or do you just need a brief soundbite? Eighth, Set a time frame. Give the survivor a realistic expectation of how long the interview will last. Is this an in-depth interview or do you just need 5 minutes on the phone? Let the survivor know that they can take a break at any time for any reason. Ninth, provide an overview. Review the topics you are interested in discussing at the start of the conversation. Are you focused on a specific aspect of the survivor's experience? If possible, provide a few examples of the questions you may ask. If the interview is for TV, radio, or podcast, explain to the survivor that you may ask the question a few different ways for the purpose of a soundbite. 10th, be upfront about editorial control. Does someone else from your team have editorial control? If it's possible, someone else could cut or take out parts of the interview. Inform the survivor. Offer to share drafts of any edited quotes. 11th, talk about fact checking. Are there any steps in your editorial or review process that involves verification or fact checking? For instance, will you need to speak with the perpetrator, law enforcement, or other individuals who may be involved with the story? If so, let the survivor know before you start the interview. Be clear about these requirements upfront so they have an opportunity to decline if they are uncomfortable with the process. 12th, during the interview, be respectful. Sexual violence is a complicated topic to understand and can be even more difficult to talk about. If you are not sure how to address a particular aspect of the interview, ask first. 13. Avoid generalizing. Some survivors may be hesitant to discuss certain aspects of their experience, while others may be more willing to share. Let the survivor share their story in their own words. While paraphrasing may be a helpful technique to understand the interviewee, it runs the risk of generalizing their experience. 14. Try not to make assumptions. Recognize that every survivor has had a different experience and may be at different points in their healing process. Try not to assume something has already taken place, such as reporting to law enforcement or that the survivor may feel a certain way. Number 15. Victim or survivor. Ask your interviewee if they have a preference. For some, victim may be applicable to recent assault, while survivor may be more appropriate after a period of healing. Ultimately, it's an individual preference. 16. Be mindful and respect boundaries. Ask if there is anything the survivor would prefer not to discuss. Let the survivor know that it's okay if they don't want to answer every question you ask. 17. At the end of the interview, show appreciation. Thank the survivor for sharing their story. Phrases like "Thank you for sharing this with me. I can only imagine how difficult that must have been for you," or "I'm sorry this happened to you," can go a long way. 18. Avoid giving advice. It's natural to try to give people solutions, especially if you have dealt with a similar situation. Keep in mind that survivors may have already taken action or may not be looking for Keep in mind that survivors may have already taken action or may not be looking for another solution. Instead of saying you should report or you should find a therapist, take a more supportive approach by asking, would you be interested in resources that may help with healing and recovery? 19. Ask for additional input. Ask the survivor if there is anything else they would like to share with you. Some aspects of their experience might not have been addressed as a direct answer to your questions. Give the survivor the opportunity to share any additional information. 20. Discuss the next steps. Follow up with the survivor to let them know when the story will run. Email a link if possible. 11th. When you are writing stories about sexual violence, have the potential to trigger difficult memories for someone affected by these crimes or cause intense emotions for any reader. 12. Provide resources. If you have the opportunity, please include a resource like the hotline or emergency numbers. The phone numbers from the Child and Women Welfare should also be given. This will be helpful in order to connect your audience with the help they deserve. 23. Take care of yourself. It can be difficult to listen to survivor stories and to help those in need. Practicing self-care can help ease the stress that may come with helping others. Spend time with your own support system, such as loved ones or pets. Take time for the things you enjoy, such as photography, watching a funny movie, or running. An example of interview turned into a news piece. The headline goes as follows: I am ready to bat at any position, says MS Dhoni. It is reported by PTI at Melbourne. The story was filed on 18 January 2019. The introduction of the news item goes like this: batting at number 4, MS Dhoni, who generally bats at number 6, anchored India's chase with a 114 ball unbeaten 87, which was studded with 6 boundaries. Former India skipper Mahendra Singh Dhoni on Friday said he has no preference in the Indian batting order and is ready to bat at any position as per the need of the team. Dhoni was adjudged the man of the series after he guided India to a comfortable 7-wicket win in the third ODI, thus securing a maiden 2-1 series win in Australia. Batting at number 4, Dhoni, who generally bats at number 6, anchored India's chase with a 114 ball unbeaten 87, which was studded with 6 boundaries. Dhoni's own words have been quoted in the news story like, I am happy to bat at any number. The important thing is where the team needs me. Quotation stop, said Dhoni when asked where he wants to bat. Again the quotation starts, whether I play at 4 or 6, we need to see if the team balance can be retained. I am happy to bat lower down at 6. I can't say I can't bat at number 6 after playing for 14 years. Quotation ends, he said after the match. Dhoni and Kedar Jadhav shared a 121 run partnership for the unconquered 4th wicket while chasing a tricky target of 231. When asked what the game plan was, Dhoni said, quotation starts, it was a slow wicket, so it was difficult to hit whenever you wanted to. No point going after the bowlers who were bowling well. So, we wanted to take it deep and that was the plan. Of course, supported brilliantly by Kedar, who plays unorthodox shots. He did a great job in executing. So, this was a news story which has been developed from an interview. It's a balance of quotations as well as news item. So, this is the way students you have to pull out important components from an interview and make a news story.